All right. Unless you want people to see your camera on recording, you probably want to go ahead and turn it off. I think, Gene, your camera is still on. And Felipe, you're okay to be on camera, but just want to make sure people are aware because I'm gonna post the recording afterwards. Yeah, no nip slips, man. All right, well, just got like 10 more people that joined, so maybe I should give it a couple more minutes. Okay, so I'm probably gonna officially kick it off at 9:05 just to give some people time to join. But the structure of the 102 program, I'm assuming everybody watched the 101, which is pretty much the basics and understanding like how to utilize Heatseeker with your day-to-day trading strategy. The 102 is pretty much going to go over putting it in practice and being able to do like reviews and recaps of how it worked out, yesterday, today, or, Friday. So, a couple of things. I'm going to break it down into three different sections. Number one is going to be questions and answers because I assume that people might immediately have some questions after trying it out after the 101 session. So, if you have any questions, post them in the chat in advance. That way, when 905 kicks off, like I have a list to go through. Number two, I'm going to go ahead and do a review and recap of some of the trades that we've been keeping an eye on. Throughout the day and throughout the week, we've been posting ideas and watch list setups. Most of them played out incredibly well. I think the one that hasn't played out yet is Microsoft, but we still have, 3 days and the week to go. And even if that one didn't play out, I think our hit rate would probably be like, 85% for the week. And then third will be a go forward review. So anybody that has questions with regards to any setups that we're looking at going into the rest of the week, I'll go ahead and cover that. I can go ahead and share some thoughts on FOMC for tomorrow, and I'd like to help clarify like any additional, challenges that people are having with identifying their own trades. Heatseeker was effectively built to codify my entire trading strategy. I used to I used to run alert servers. I used to be in servers that had, 15,000 plus people. Got tired of doing it because it's very time consuming and I manage four of my own portfolios. So, the whole notion behind Heatseeker was to effectively codify what I know and how I trade into a product that can be recycled by anybody else effectively. So, yeah, 2 minutes left before you officially start. So go ahead and post those questions in the chat. All right, so there's a list of questions here. Keep on posting them if you have them. I'm gonna go through them one by one thoroughly, so you'll have time to keep on adding on. First question by K Shaw. You'd like to have some recap on starting and ending on SPX or QQQ as to implications for the next day for Heatseeker map as it shows at 4 p.m. and for during the day around 9:30 a.m. Okay, so there's one thing that Heatseeker does a little bit differently than a lot of the other tools on the market do, especially for like 0 day expiration or 1 day expiration. If you've used tools like Xbot before, they do a reset every morning and they start a completely fresh data set for tracking like dealer exposure for the next day. Heatseeker doesn't do that. Like I track it all the way from the beginning of time, and the dealer exposure doesn't ever roll off on the maps unless I have confirmation through our inference layer that their exposure has actually rolled off. So what you're seeing at the end of the day today is still in play for tomorrow morning. The thing is, the first 30 to 45 minutes is when you see the most shuffling and the most like volume of options being sold across the market by institutional sellers. So ultimately, that's why I say don't play the morning maps. With that said, you can still like the data is still legitimate. It just means that after you enter a trade, there could be a pretty rapid shuffling of what the positions are looking like. So you could end up trapped in a position you don't want to be in. With that said, there's a lot of scenarios where like the day opens and it's like a very clear as day and night that we completely overshot like the king major nodes overnight. And in that kind of setup, like you could still jump the gun and you can still take like, puts and like until the reshuffling happens, like the price is going to see some downward pressure. So a lot of times, like if you're very, very experienced with it, like I'm pretty experienced with it, so this is something that I do. But if I see a significant asymmetric risk to reward setup in the morning, because, for example, we gapped up, there's no more prominent nodes upside across all three, SPX, SPY, and QQQ, like I'll just go ahead and slap puts and I'll just write them down. Um, as long as the hypothesis is still valid. If we start seeing accumulation of a fresh node that is above the current spot price with some upside pull, at that point I'd be a little bit more skeptical and like I'd go flat or go cash. But generally, like I'm always keeping an eye on it, and given that we have 15-second refreshes with real-time spot prices, as you build experience, you should be able to play off of the overnight nodes. I'm tracking SPX exposure 24 hours as well because some brokers, like interactive brokers, enable liquidity on SPX around the clock. So the data is all pretty accurate and fresh. All right, YS, you need a little bit more clarity on background colors. Are you focusing too much on it? Probably yes, you are focusing too much on the background colors. Like the whole idea behind a heat map data visualization is to provide the largest contrast across the points that are actually on the data sheet. So generally, if you have like a very, very large negative exposure node on the chart, then the background color is going to be yellow. So if the background color is yellow, like the one thing you can assume is, holy shit, like there's just massive negative exposure somewhere. And if the background color is dark purple, then you can assume that there is massive positive exposure somewhere. So that's really all it tells you. It doesn't really tell you anything outside of that. So yeah, you don't have to focus too much on the background color itself. That's just the whole nature and mechanics behind the heat map visualization. If it's relevant for today's content, can I go over an example of an A versus B setup? Yeah, I can go ahead and do that. Like Dax, I'm probably gonna cover a lot of this like in 103, 104, and 105 sessions. I also have some live streams on my YouTube channel, which is at glitch_SPX, where you can actually see me outline what an F map setup looks like. So there's A setups, there's B setups, there's C setups, D setups, like F setups. It gets very granular as you continue to build more experience with the maps. And just the nature of like how we built it with the heat map structure, it's very easy for you to remember and just look at a chart or a map and say, yeah, this doesn't look like a good day to trade. Like even today, like throughout the morning, what I was mentioning to people is like, yeah, SPX has upside. Spy was topped out, QQQ was topped out, so we're probably gonna end up in a chop pattern. And we effectively did chop until Spy started to roll up slowly, and that's when we saw an end of day pump. So you'll get more familiar with this over time, but yeah, I'll go ahead and cover how things played out today from an ETF and index standpoint, and that should probably help you understand, what's a good setup to trade versus not. Yeah, great product. You're loving it. Yeah, dude, it's literally OP for trading spreads. Like if you trade spreads, like you will be very, very successful using Heatseeker, even more so than people that don't use spreads. The only suggestion I have, Kevin, is like don't hold on to your spreads until the last 30 minutes of market close. Like if you want to go ahead and hold runners up until that point, like it's fine. But as you might have noticed with the 3:30 Eastern Time Robinhood liquidation, you could see a lot of shuffling. And then going into the MOC in the last 10 minutes, you can also see another major reshuffle. So if you're holding spreads up until the last 10 minutes, it could get pretty dicey, and I generally don't suggest that. Like most people, if they're in spreads, especially for 0 day, they should be closing out into the last hour. That's just a general best practice. Today was weird because SPX had no lit up nodes below in the morning, but SPY had a big purple one, so you were expecting price to get there, but never happened. Yeah, the problem with today was that SPX was showing decent upside and QQQ had strong upside magnets. SPY had a downside magnet, and sure, it did pull down slightly, it just didn't fully reach it because SPX was already at the floor. So if SPX is at the floor, like it doesn't have much leeway down, even though SPY had a downward pull, and that's pretty much what happened. So generally, like when I say those three are not in alignment, like it just means that you're probably gonna end up in a choppy situation. And at that point, it's better to trade single tickers. Like identifying and trading single tickers is actually really, really effective when you're expecting the indexes and ETFs to chop because you know that the ETFs and indexes are not going to have an influence on, other tickers that have relative strength and relative weakness. So generally, when the ETFs and indexes are muted, that's a really great opportunity to just go out on single tickers because like the market is stable, right? And when the market is stable, it's a lot easier to trade tickers with relative strength and weakness. Yeah, VKTX. So I'll go ahead and cover VKTX as part of the third part of today's session. Let me just go ahead and take a note down on that one. I'll write it down and look it up. Yep. Yeah, my mic should be pretty good. I'm using a studio setup, so I think most people should hear me pretty well. Dell, you might want to go into your Zoom settings and maybe increase the audio or increase your computer audio, perhaps. JB, the question is, do I prefer to play purple to yellow nodes? Yes, I absolutely do prefer to play purple to yellow nodes. And the reason why is because, yes, you get very, very strong volatility from purple nodes. So oftentimes what you end up with is you get violent reversals at that level. A lot of times they do hunt liquidity though. So naturally, what I do is as price is approaching a downside purple node, what I actually do is I set a limit order and I set like a very, very low ball, like cheap limit order. That way, if it does go down and hunt for liquidity, like I get a really, really good fill on it. And from there, like it reverses violently and aggressively, and then, it's just good profits overall. So yes, I do prefer to play purple to yellow nodes. Purple nodes on the downside up to yellow nodes. And for short setups, I prefer to play rejections off of yellow nodes to purple nodes on the downside. Or yellow nodes on the downside even. Like that's generally my preference. But it also works the other way. Like sometimes you'll see a yellow node downside and a purple node upside, and like it plays out very similarly. It's just I think there's a better and higher success rate with purple being the floors rather than yellow. Like yellow, like the risk with that is that a lot of times like it just kind of falls through instead of having a strong bounce. So generally like I don't really like to play them too much. Yeah, let me look at QQQ today real quick. Yeah, so if we look at QQQ today, 3:59 p.m. I'm looking at tomorrow's node for QQQ right now. Expectation is that King node is at 575 for 919. Yeah, so it's at 595 and 575. Like this is a little bit suspect. Um, so I'll actually cover this in section 3, which is like my FOMC like prediction and forecast, because what I'm seeing is a divergence between QQQ and IWM. And with QQQ topping out at around like 595 on 919, like if it ever got to that point, like I would probably want to try like swing shorts. I'm gonna mute everybody again. Please don't unmute. Actually, I'm gonna disable anybody from unmuting. Okay, but yeah, if QQQ went to 595, like I think the risk to reward on shorts there is like really, really good. Um, the 575 for QQQ definitely seems and feels like a hedge node because we only have 3 days left, and 592 to 575 would be an 18-point drop, which is pretty significant. So, generally, like that's how I kind of predict whether a node is like a hedge node or not. It's dependent on how far out the money it is and how many days left to that expiration date. But yeah, like if, if institutions or market dealers are hedging, like I want to be hedged too. So naturally, like, generally I'll have a position similar to that. I think that's why like Keon he had like end of week SPY puts as well because we're all hedging for FOMC. Like nobody knows what's gonna happen. Like we don't know if, small caps are gonna rocket and it sucks the liquidity out of mega caps. Or we don't know if, like there's literally no prediction. Like it could be anything. Yeah, SPX and SPY are pretty hard to trade from the past 2 weeks. It's generally been waiting on a lot of things, but ultimately it's because we're trading at all-time highs. Like trading at all-time highs is like really, really, really difficult. Like I'm not a big fan of it. It's generally like very choppy and like you get a lot of fake outs and it's not easy, but if you have the right tools, like you can still make it out alive. And then later when we get a reset, then you could buy the dip for just massive swing trades or you can nail the top and ride puts forever. Yeah, thanks for the response. Where do I post my alerts and trades? Kevin, I don't do alerts and I don't post trades. Like ultimately, I do a lot of commentary and I share a lot of analysis, but I just don't have the bandwidth to do alerts and trades. Like I run Skylit, the company, as a single person. So like I'm developing, I'm doing product management, I'm keeping the tool up and running. I'm fixing bugs like during market hours, and I'm trading like four of my own portfolios at the same time. So I just don't have the bandwidth to like alert because the moment I do, I get like 50 DMs asking if I'm still in a position, only when I'm down like 10% or something like that. So yeah, I've been alerting for like 6 years plus, like throughout my trading career. And just around a year or two ago, I decided to stop doing it. I probably won't even do it. Like I probably will never go back to alerting. Like I just don't see the need to because this tool literally makes it brain dead simple for people to find their own entries and exits. Richie Dubs, what do you want a video of, man? You want a video of me or like you're looking for some kind of screen sharing? First target purple or yellow. That's I'm not entirely sure what the question means there, but um yeah, thank you. Maybe if you could elaborate what your question is, I can go ahead and try to answer that, but it's pretty vague as of now. For someone who's not familiar with this completely, where should I get started? Go watch the Heatseeker 101 video that I pinned in the Heatseeker support channel in Owls. And also, I also pinned a PDF guide from John Wicks. If you go over those two, like it should be pretty simple to get started. Yeah, my screen's off right now, everybody. Yeah, the QQQ is there's a yellow node on the downside at 575. Let me actually just pull it up and show everybody so I'm not confusing the crap out of you all. Hold on. Hold on just a second. Yeah, it's this one right here. This is the QQQ map. It's at 592 right now. You can see that upside right here has, this 595 right here, and then this downside is right here. So, I guess what could happen is it could start going up like this and it can go down. Um, But I think it's a hedge node. Like it's just way too low. Like right now we're at 592, this at 575. Like in order for us to actually tap this by Friday, like we would have to start dumping like tomorrow. So let's keep an eye on it. Like maybe if we gapped up or something, like it'd be interesting to just take some lotto shorts down there. But the other like diverging factor that I noticed that's interesting is that IWM is actually pointing up and then it goes down into Friday as well. So I think I mentioned this to a lot of people, but like one thing you have to note is that September 19th is quad witching OPEX. So this is quarterly OPEX, which is like it's going to be a day where there's massive, massive amounts of notional option values expiring. So naturally, as a result of this, like this column itself should be taken with a grain of salt. Like it's just a shit show. There's a lot of manipulation. Like there's a lot of uncertainty in how things are going to play out. So just take it with a grain of salt. Like just remember that. Like yes, there's a chance that they could play out, but it's going to be less likely than any other day in particular. Usually, I much rather prefer these OPEX nodes to just wash out and then come back clean like next week, and then you get a lot more clarity from there. But yeah, QQQ and IWM has that same look. Like it pops up and then it goes down. QQQ is like the same. Like you've got like a small pop up right here, goes down. And I don't think over a day it can crash all the way from 596 to 575. So like just don't pay too much attention to that. Like you could play lottos into it, but that would be most. And like yeah, SPY is just this one's just all over the place. So not much we could do with that. And this one is not really much there either. You didn't see the Heatseeker today in Owls? Well, I mean I did close it after the market closed, but during market open, like it was open the whole time to everybody. So yeah, send me a DM if you couldn't see it. Yeah, th this is a pretty interesting question. Can you share some tickers that I found interesting? Yeah, so generally, if anybody has access to the web app, like I'll just go ahead and do a quick demo of how I scroll through things. So first thing first, like if you want to change the ticker, like there's actually a keyboard shortcut where you could just do, well, you could type slash to like go into it, and then you could just search it like this. Also, like if you want to go through every single one of these, like all you need to do is press the left and right arrow key on your keypad, and you could just go through them. And I've got auto scrolling that's like intelligently built in, so the map will automatically focus on what the king node is. So this gray box right here is the current price. 125 is the king node on hood. Like this is actually what a lot of people played today because as I was mentioning, it's important to look for setups that have the most asymmetric risk to reward. What this means is that your upside should be a lot larger than what your downside is. And if you look at hood, if you played it today, like you can literally play it off of like a 115 bounce, and then you could ride it up to like 119 as your first target. And if you get lucky, you take your trims there, you hold runners. If you get lucky, it's gonna hit 125 before the end of the week. Um, a lot of people like asked me about it. Like personally, I didn't play it because I don't really like trading tickers when they're at all-time highs. But if you actually look at Hood and how it played out today, like I think it went down to like 114. Like it hunted down like $1 and then it literally ripped all the way up to 118. So overall, like it's pretty damn close. Like sure, it did a liquidity hunt down here. Like, it hunted this purple node, which is expected. Like I mentioned, that purple nodes, like it could hunt a little bit lower because of the volatility increase. And then afterwards, like it shot up to 119. But as I mentioned, yellow nodes are suppressive, right? So you don't hold until 119. You want to start selling into it. So you should be out by around 118. So this is how I find like really good asymmetric risk to reward setups. Like Hood looked great today. And like I think people that played it probably got like 100% plus out of it easily. And then after that, like if you want to flip between the net gex and the net vex, instead of clicking on it with your mouse, I have a shortcut where you could just do Control G or Control V to go back and forth. All right. So it's super easy to go through. Like I built Skylit for power users, so like naturally over time, like as you're using it, like it should just be super easy to like just scroll through like this to understand like what's a good trade. Like, Hims is looking pretty decent. It's got a keynote up at 55. Like Ion Q, like this move is almost done. Like I think this like earlier this week, like 55 was like the lows and then, it ripped pretty hard. So I think it's almost tapped out. As I was mentioning, like don't trade stuff like this because if you look here, like if you look at your upside, sure you've got like you've got like three more points of upside, but like what is your downside risk here? Like there's really not much. Like if it dropped below 61, like you're going all the way down to 55. So like it doesn't make sense, right? Because you've got 3 points of upside versus like 7 points of potential downside. Like your risk to reward is actually negative at that point. So it's just not a good setup anymore. Like you'd be chasing it. So yeah, this is literally what I do. Like I just go through this like core weave. Wait, core weave is not at 110. That's got to be wrong. Yeah, core weave I think is bugged out right now. Sometimes the spot prices going into close pulls like a very very old value. Core weave is actually at 118. I'll do a case study on this one because the bounce play off of 115 was like perfect today. So yeah, like this is all you need to do. If you want to identify good trades, like keep on scrolling through stuff like this and look at things where the king node is very, very far away from the current spot price. Like if you look at Lulu, like I actually think even Lulu is considered a potentially good trade right now. The reason I'm saying this is because like it's at the king node right now, and this serves as a pretty strong floor. And what we might be able to see is like since price hit down into this, you could see a pretty good reversal back to the upside from here now. Okay? And like if I'm looking for a swing trade, what I'll do is I'll go into the VEX, and if I see a pattern that's stair stepping up into the right, like I'm in it. Like if you look at Lulu and if you look at where price came from, which is 157.5 to 160, like there's not many nodes downside. They're all up into the right. So over here, like you could take a swing trade like a week or two out, and you'll probably make some easy money on it. So does that make sense? Like I think Lulu tapped all the way down to like 159 something, and then it reversed pretty hard off of there. Like IV is incredibly low. Like the reason I trade reversals is because when price is going down, like the IV on calls is really, really low. So you can get in like really, really cheap before other people catch on to it. So hopefully that makes sense. Somebody is asking, is there a scan option in Heatseeker Pro that finds good takers at major support or resistance? So this is a feature that I've been working on. It's like partially ready. The only reason I haven't released it yet, and I'm not sure if I can release it, is because like this is the feature that I was building. It's like automatically identifying where the current spot price is significantly far from like the key nodes. Um, like it's pretty much done and ready. The only reason I'm not releasing it is because if I do, like every single person that's using Heatseeker is gonna be in the same trade, and I don't think that's a good idea for like the product, and it's not a good idea for the users. Like at that point, like it's just a target for like market dealers to effectively screw people over. So there are some scary features that are in the works, and I'm just being very cautious with regards to what is safe to release versus not. So later what I'm gonna do is I'll be building out like a lot more data infra. So like I'm gonna build out like a lot of research features for like, earnings, data, fundamentals and stuff like that. I'm also gonna launch like Flow Seeker as another data module. And when I have that, I might enable people to build out custom agentic workflows, but I probably won't release something that's out of box prescriptive because then everybody's gonna be trading the exact same thing and that can't go well. Like that would be a very scary world. Yeah, the GLD hedge node is also interesting. Like this is a pretty steep drop. Like it's expecting a 10-point drop by the end of the week. Yeah, that will be pretty interesting to see. Like I think this is a hedge node as well. Yeah, so you said the unique problem with the web is that sometimes it's a bit hard to notice the differences in the same ticker. Felipe, if you can elaborate on that question a little bit, it'll be good. But I guess what you're saying is it's a bit hard to notice the rate of change on the nodes for a particular ticker, right? So you're talking about something like yeah, I think you're talking about this feature right here, which is visualize the node velocity and rate of change on the heat map. Yeah, it's something I'm working on. I haven't been able to prioritize this one yet, but yeah, it's on the roadmap and it'll be coming soon. Yeah, I'm gonna have like little, so on the right of the heat map, like I might have like a little commentary box which outlines like the different changes and rate of growth across the nodes, and I think that's probably what you're looking for. Yeah, UPST. Um, yeah, UPST looks like it's got potential downside 64, but let me see where price got delivered from this week. Um, yeah, so if you look at UPST on Monday, it actually bounced off of 64, I believe. Yeah, UPST opened at 64 on Monday. So that's pretty much indicating that price was delivered from the 64 floor. Maybe if it goes up towards 70, like I would consider that a decent short back down to 64. If and only if the 64 continues to grow in value despite price going up. Like that's a divergence and that's a bearish divergence in the terminology of how Heatseeker works. So if price is going up towards this 70 right here, and you don't see any new nodes accumulating here, but this node right here goes up in absolute value, then that means this node is still active and it's still a very strong pull. So you can actually play a potential rejection back down like this. That's how I would evaluate UPST and how I would trade it. And then for any potential swing setups, like you generally just keep an eye on. Yeah, UPST is pretty asymmetric going into the next few weeks, so I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this one. But at least for weekly, is like I'll play a rejection from 70 down to 64, assuming all those other conditions hold true. Yeah, UNH was a case study of mine. Like earlier this week, like I kept on saying like this was a good ticker to short. Yeah, this is not at 320 right now. I think this one is probably, yeah, these end of day prices are bugged out right now. It might be with the real-time spot price changes that I pushed today. So during market hours, at least it's real time, but after market hours, it seems it's pulling stale data. But right now, it's actually at 339. So it's at 339 right now. So yeah, I mean, first thing first, like you're a little bit late for UPST. Like UPST, like we knew it was going to reject 360 starting last week because that was the king node. So ideally, like you should have just been short off of 360, and then you had 30 point potential downside with very, very little risk. So yeah, I think UPST could still continue down a little bit. It's just you're pretty much fighting for scraps at this point. Like I think the move is, I mean, it's already gone down like 20 points within the past 2 days. So I consider that a chase. Like I'll just look for a better trade. So good point to enter is purple hit. We can enter, which give yellow side target, whichever direction is located. Yeah, technically speaking, the answer is yes. So for example, like CoreWeave was a good example. Like I think we opened the day right here, we bounced down here, and then I told people like this is a good potential bounce opportunity, so you should write it back up like this. So you could have bought the dip on CoreWeave at 115 today, and if you look at your trading view map, I guarantee you, like you probably made money if you bought the dip into 115. Like no brainer. Yeah, how many tickers do I have? I think I have close to 300. I'm probably going to add like 20 or 30 more because I've gotten a lot of requests for some new tickers. So, yeah, this is the admin panel, so you won't see all of this, but I have 296 tickers configured. This is the full list of them. Later, I can go ahead and add more. Like the only thing to note is that whenever I add a new ticker, it takes at least a couple of weeks for it to start like seeding and building out like the inference layer for it. So even after I add it, like it's just not good to use for a bit. But I'll get the next batch going and I'll probably add it shortly. No, Oracle shorts are already done, man. Like Oracle, like the moment it gapped up today, like I entered short and it was a no-brainer short because yeah, I think yeah, it gapped up to like 320 today. So it gapped up to 320. Like this was a gatekeeper node right here. It gapped up and then I saw the key node at 295, entered short, and then it had a nice drop down right here. And then if you look at Oracle, yeah, I think what you're mentioning is that there is this major node down here. So I actually have some lotto put swings targeting the 230 because you got the 230 Gex all the way down here, but you also have a 230 Vex down here as well in same alignment. So for me, like that kind of risk to reward is like really juicy. So even if you took lotto puts like $1,000 worth and price actually hit 230 by October 17th, like you're hitting a 1000% plus trade on that one. So like I take those kinds of asymmetric risk to reward setups like 10 out of 10 times. Like will it play out? I'm skeptical. The only reason I'm skeptical is because October 17th is the third Friday of October, meaning that's also OpEx. So it could just be dealer shenanigans again. So the third Friday of every month is like you just play those as lottos. Like, can it play out? Yes. Will it play out? Depends. Like, I would be surprised if this actually played out because Oracle, from a fundamentals standpoint, has every reason to have pumped the way it pumped. So like the only reason I see it ever dropping down this hard is if there's news about like one of the deals like falling through, or if they made like a really poor, like very, very, very expensive acquisition that's gonna hurt their like, financials, or if they have like some kind of other news about them getting a deal sniped or something. Like it really boggles my mind with regards to how Oracle would come down here, which is why I just treat it as a lot of position. It's $1,000. It's like less than like a tenth of a percent of like my portfolio size, so it's just a fun trade for me. So like just think about my logic and like try to absorb like the way I'm thinking and understanding these things. Like if you're new to Heatseeker, like you'll look at this and you'll be like, holy fuck, like that's a major short opportunity. Like I'm gonna full port that. But like you've always got to be somewhat of a skeptic when there's something that looks too good to be true. Like the best trades are not the ones that look too good to be true and the ones that are too obvious. That's like the Adobe earnings swing that people were trying to hit 400 on, right? Like I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that's too good to be true. Like I'm just gonna do like a very, very small exposure on it. Like if it's too good to be true, then it's probably too good to be true. So like just look for the ones that like line up with principles that are like moderate in terms of like, oh, that looks pretty good. And like just manage risk on those kinds of trades. Like you are gonna get the home runs sometimes. I think one that we hit a couple of weeks ago was for CoreWeave. Like CoreWeave was all the way up to like I posted this one on my X, so if you scroll through my feed, you'll see it. But CoreWeave, we literally sniped the top around like 180 to 185 because we saw a node that was all the way down at 85 for 3 weeks out. And within that 3 week period, we tapped 84.48 and then it bounced hard from there. So that was like one scenario in which like these Vex swings actually played out. Another one that played out was for Warren Buffett's UNH 13F filing. Like that one also had a major asymmetric setup like this going into the Friday of the filing. And I hit a lotto. I hit like a $5,000 lotto and I cashed out like 100K on that trade. So like that's why I still play these like Vex speculative swings because even with a very small risk, you can come out with like 1,000 to 5,000% on the trade, but like you shouldn't expose like too much on it. Okay. So like that's why I always tell people like don't ignore the Vex. Like if you look at the Gex, like it doesn't look as obvious, but if you flip into this one, like it's like holy shit, like there's definitely something going on there. So yeah, the Oracle being a good put. Yeah, today morning, like when it gapped up, it was a great put. Like I put it like already in the green, so like runners are pretty much risk free at this point. Yeah, if you're in the Heatseeker Pro, the web app is included. Check your email, check the promotion tab in the spam folder if you didn't get it yet. And if you still don't see it, then just ping me your email, and then I'll go ahead and get you added. Yeah, Brad Metcalf, like send me a DM if you don't have the Skylit access yet. Yeah, for most people, I should have sent it out already. It might be in your promotion folder or your spam folder. So if you check those two and you still don't see it, then definitely send me a message and I'll go ahead and take a look. Yeah, Jeff, the target market. Yeah, Jeff, I think the target market, I mean, like I speak realistically, like I'm not here to sell a toy. Like I'm not like, unusual whales and traded ticks, like they could go ahead and take over the toy market. Like what I'm trying to do is like I'm trying to bring like institutional grade edge to people that are self-directed professional traders. Like if you're here with a $1,000 or a $5,000 port, hoping to hit a home run and get that portfolio to 100K within like the next few weeks, like you are not within the target market that we're looking for. Like there's a lot of other things you could do in owls. Like there's a lot of people that are great analysts that are great with alerting, where you could just follow them and make money and you don't even need Heatseeker, right? But this is mainly for the people that aspire to become a professional self-directed trader. And ideally, like you should have a port that's north of 30,000 if you want to make this worthwhile for you, right? For people that are trading like under a $10,000 port, like my honest rule of thumb and general advice, if you want to get serious about trading, is to go work. Like, don't give up your job. Even if you don't have a job, like, go find a side hustle or find some kind of gig where you can continue to make money to reload your portfolio to a level it makes sense to do, which I think is like around 25 to 30K. Like, you've got to be out of the margin, you've got to be out of like the PDT restrictions in order to have a lot more freedom when you're trading. So yeah, like yeah, if it's if your port is small, like I mean, to be frank, like I just don't think it's the right tool for you. Like I'm very clear in terms of like who my ideal customer profile is and like the range and base of target customers I'm looking for. And the most important thing for me is like I want to ensure people are successful. So like if you've got a tiny port and you're having to take out more than half of it to do like a 1 month subscription, like you probably shouldn't do it. Like you can depend and rely on like the Tuesday trials that we do, but like most of all, like the Owls community has like great analysts that do great with alerts, and like you could probably just work with them for a while and continue building up. Yeah, Marie, if you don't have the web UI, then definitely send me an email or send me a DM and like I'll add it to you. But yeah, before you do, like check your spam and check your promotions folder. Yeah, Dell, the bracket next to the figures, like 20% minus 200% and stuff like that. I can go ahead and like look into it. It's a feature. Like the only problem I have right now is really the processing power that's required to do this across 300 plus tickers at a 5 second interval. So like the heat maps in Discord only update every 15 seconds. In reality, I'm processing data for all 300 tickers in the backend every 5 seconds. So if you look here at the last updated, what you'll see is like, it's at 0.7, right? You look at this. It updated 5 seconds and you get another update. So the UI actually updates a lot more frequently than the Discord maps do. The Discord maps are limited by the API rate limits on Discord, which only enables me to make a certain number of requests per minute. So that's why in Discord I don't pipe it as often. But on my side in the back end, I process them every 5 minutes or 5 seconds. So adding any additional like calculation and logic could become like very, very expensive. It's probably gonna have to wait until I build out the agentic layer, which is building out AI agents that can go ahead and surf through all the data and come up with it. Yeah, Owls, Richie Dubs, I opened it up for the entire week last week, and then following that, I'm opening it up every Tuesday. No, no, you don't get access to Skylit.ai on Tuesdays. Like, I actually have to manage access to Skylit.ai manually right now, so I wouldn't be able to do that. But all of the maps and the Heatseeker bot, you will be able to see on the Owls Discord. Yeah, DKNG I think had a decent one. I think somebody mentioned DKNG to me, and for me, like it didn't actually look that asymmetric. I think somebody mentioned this one to me last week, and what I was mentioning is that for the week following, which is this week now, 919, I actually don't consider it a good setup because you've got like a node here, you've got a node here, and it's like smack dab in the middle of it. Like if we go down towards this 42, then you might be able to play a bounce here. That would be like the only potential setup that I see. But right now it's in no man's land. I don't like it. MBIS, would I short it? Let me see. Yeah, 80 node. Yeah, I totally forgot about MBIS. This one was like overheated, so it would have been a pretty good short. Like I think it rejected 100 on the dot. Um, Yeah, like the reason I also don't like NBIS is like it's not a clean shot down. Like what you see is that you've got like this node right here, you've got another one right here, you've got another one right here. So like there's a lot of areas it can get caught up on. A clean setup, for example, is if you're coming off of one key node from the upside, all of this junk is not here, right? You have no other floors sitting here, like no intermediate floors, and then you've got a straight shot down to 80. Like that is what a clean setup looks like. For something like this, like I just expect like chop and grind. And like if you get lucky, like it might just flush down. But yeah, it's probably not worth it. And if you look at the premiums on MBIS, like I think premiums on MBIS are usually pretty inflated. It just doesn't make the trade worth it. But I mean, it could work. It's just not my style of setup. It's not clean enough for me. Would I short BA? I think BA was a short a couple days ago, and it already played out for the most part. They ended up so BA was looking like a short setup, and then it dropped news, and then it actually tanked. But right now, again, like this is in no man's land, right? Like you've got a major node right here, you've got another one right here. We're already like below the midway point, which makes sense. The only way I would play this is if it came all the way down to 210, then you could try to play a bounce. That's the only way I see a good setup there. Like just make sure that the chart lines up with it though. Right? Like 210, if the 210 is a major floor node, like you would just have to make sure that the chart actually supports that thesis. Yeah, UNH. Yeah, UNH. Okay, so this spot price is currently incorrect. I think UNH is at like 340 right now. I don't really see a strong long thesis on this one unless you get a dip back down to 330. Like you could probably buy the dip at 330. Check the VEX and Yeah, I don't actually like UNH that much. Like, I just don't see too much clarity. Like, even if it came to 330, like, sure, you could try to catch a bounce and then you could stay in it as long as it stays above, but there's not much clarity with regards to like where it's going to go afterwards. Like, the positioning is pretty thin for the next few weeks out. Yeah. Yeah, Tesla, I've been mentioning to people like don't fuck with it. Like Tesla, we bought the dip all the way at 293 to 294. We've been riding up ever since. Yeah, it's just not really a good setup because like you've got 450 here, you've got 400 here, and then you've just got a shit ton of fucking chop in between. Like I guarantee you, like Tesla's just gonna be choppy as fuck now. And like I think even today, like it was pretty choppy. Like th it's not an asymmetric setup. Like if anything, this is a symmetric setup, so I just don't see like the bull thesis here at all. Like Tesla is like over, it's just cooked, and like too many people are flooded into it. Like they're all chasing it. So when everybody chases a move that's already overcooked, like the market dealer's best move at that point is just to chop it around and whipsaw it, so people lose on data. Yeah, all those I did. Yeah, 100K from Mulatto is not bad. UNH was like a 5,000% trade from the 13F. Kevin, there is currently no way to change the ticker lineup on the list, but there is a feature that we're working on right now actively called multi-watch list and favorites. And this one, I already have it somewhat designed and ready. We just have to push it out. So maybe in like the next week or two, we'll go ahead and launch the ability to set up like a watch list and favorites where you can go ahead and filter and organize to your liking. Yeah, that's the thing. Like the thing about Heatseeker right now is like even right now in its current state, like it's worth what it's like charging for. But like there's a lot on the roadmap. So the only thing I've always told people is like the prices are never going to go down. Like if anything, as we keep adding features, like this is truly going to be like the tool of the next generation that really helps everybody make money. So there's some cool stuff in the works. Yeah, QCOM doesn't really have much going for it, I think. 162.5, there's a ceiling. Actually, let me just double check to make sure I know where it's at. Yeah, it's at 164.11 right now. Yeah. I don't really see much here. Um, yeah, it's stuck between 165 and 162.5. Yeah, the Vex has like 190 up there, but like the Gex has a ceiling right here, so it's important to kind of keep that in mind. Like if it could break 165, like this might be able to squeeze, but yeah, not really seeing a thesis outside of that. Yeah, this one would really need to crack above 165, then it might be able to shoot up a little bit higher. Yeah, even the Vex, like I'm not really a big fan of it because like, if it's just going up, like it's fine, but like as you can see here, like there's a path there, but there's also a path down to this side as well. So it's like, there's just not enough certainty there for me. And then one thing you could do is since QCOM is a semiconductor company, like generally the rule of thumb that I have is to always compare it against its relevant ETF, which is SMH. This is the semiconductor ETF. And take a look at what this looks like because they generally move together. And even for semis, like it's showing, I think somebody asked me yesterday, but I was mentioning that Nvidia looks bearish to the downside towards 172.5. So SMH is showing keynote data at 302.5. And I think Nvidia as well is 172.5. So Nvidia pull is to the downside. Like I just can't be bullish on this. Like maybe if it taps 172.5, we get a reaction and bounce from there. But outside of that, like, we'll see. Like I think a good dip buy would be into 172.5 potentially, and then target a bounce. But yeah, when I looked at it yesterday, like I knew today was going to be a red day for that one. Yeah, RGTI, like you could potentially fade the move. I think IonQ and RGTI are both slowly starting to get tapped out as they approach their major nodes up here. Um, yeah, RGTI still has a 17 to the downside. Let me just make sure that wasn't where a price delivery came from. So, yeah, it's possible. Yeah, we might be able to see RGTI. You might be able to take like if it pumps again tomorrow into 22, like you might be able to fade it with weeklies and just lotto it to the downside, see what happens. Doesn't look too bad. Uh, It's also like nearing all-time highs. Like it's nearing all-time highs at like 21.42. So you might be able to just catch a double top off that one and swing puts on it as well. Like that would be a potential good risk to reward trade. No, so Lily is actually a case study that I wanted to share for today. So Lily, we've been mentioning since last week that the major node is all the way up at 800, right? So that's our target node. Outside of that, what we're mentioning is that the floor is at 750, right? So this is like a pretty clean setup because like you've got one node here, you've got one node here, and like sure you've got like a few small ones here, but this is a massive range. So if I'm looking at Lily, if we get a dip down towards the 750, like, why the fuck would we not buy that dip, right? Like, you would be crazy to not buy that dip because there's nothing else that's really pulling stronger to the downside from there. So even when I'm looking at this map directly, what I would expect is if this trims down, Dylan, you looking cute. You looking cute tonight, dude. You got your camera on, buddy. Yeah, so for over here, what you would expect is 775. It's gonna dip down towards 750. And like from my standpoint, I'm like, I want to play this fucking slingshot setup all the way to the upside over here. Okay? Now, I'm telling you this because it's literally how it played out. So you go to the Lily chart here. You look at how it played out today. Like it even had a news candle today. Like that's the craziest part about it. Like let's just draw the lines. Like we've got one at 750, right? And then you've got one all the way up at like 800. Like let's just fucking say it's all the way up there. Like today, it broke out, and then we got a news candle. Like this right here was a news candle. And if you bought, like I think what was it? It's a purple node. 750 is a purple node, right? So as it's approaching it, you know that there's going to be a potential hunt to the downside. So what you could actually do is as it's approaching 750, just set a low ball limit buy on this one with the expectation that it's going to go back up. And like you literally had a zero drawdown trade and you had even if you entered perfectly here with like a market order because you didn't do a limit buy, like bare minimum, you caught a 2.74% move. Like this will send your options contract minimum like 120 to 150% on a day like today with zero drawdown. So yeah, I think Lily was like one of the better setups that I saw with like very, very good asymmetric risk to reward. Because if you're looking at this and like the immediate thought you have is like, well, fuck, if we ever come down towards, if we ever came down towards here, like I'm buying the dip, and it's exactly what happened on the chart. So like these are the setups that you want to look for. Like I think Lily was on everybody's radar from last week because even last week when the strike was September 12th, we looked at the next node over and it still had 800 there. So the next question that people are going to ask me is it actually going to hit 800? My answer is yes, no, maybe. Like what's actually going to happen is these two nodes now are going to be competing against each other. So like you still have a 1.7 mil right here and you've got a 2.4 mil here. So it's not equal pull. Upside has a little bit stronger pull, but like as it approaches a little bit above the 50% fib between the two ranges, like I'm gonna be looking to take profits because as it crosses over, like, there's still a downside pull here, so it could prevent it from going to the ultimate target. Okay? You could think of these two nodes playing like tug of war effectively. That's why like I tell people don't be greedy and try to hold for the final target. Like just trim, take profits according to what your rules are, and make sure that you're making like calculated decisions that are smart. All right, hopefully the Lily setup makes sense. If it does, then let me know. If it doesn't, let me know as well. But yeah, Witty, like the reason I don't say Lily is a good setup anymore is because it already fucking ripped like 25 to 30 points from the lows. Yeah, JB, your question is answered, so thank you. Yeah, you want me to leave the SPX and the SPY chat open on all so you can go over the PA from today? Yeah, we can go over it. I can let you guys go over it, but also like towards the end of this session, like I'll actually do a walkthrough and recap exactly of how the SPY and SPX played out today. But first of all, I think another one was RKLB. So, it might sound pretty crazy, but RKLB on Monday was sitting at 55. And 55 was actually the king node from last week, which means it had topped out. And then 5100 was like the major node to the downside, and you have like 45. So if you actually played puts off of 55, like you nailed a 400% trade overnight. because they announced an offering and it sent it all the way down. So that was also like a really, really good swing trade that you could have caught with the Heatseeker. Yeah, I'm not gonna short UNH. Like the move is almost done already. Like it's almost at three. It's at 340 right now. The downside target is 330 from 360. So your risk to reward is not good. Like it already dropped 20 points. You've got 10 points left. Like you've got a 0.5 to 1 risk to reward. Like it's just not in your favor. The only trades I'm interested in taking are trades that have a 3 to 1 risk to reward or higher. Skylit AI, what tips do I have for trying to see the moves on nodes intraday as we can only see current? You just got to train your eyes to be able to do it. Like over time, like you'll just kind of have like visual memory of how things looked, and like as you go back to it, like you'll be able to keep it in mind. Over a longer period of time, like I'll enable people to be able to like bookmark a setup and the state of that setup at a point in time, and then an agent will just run through those setups that you're in and like continue to update you on like how things are changing over time and if the hypothesis is still valid. But that's a roadmap item. It's not something we have today. Like if you think about everything we're doing today, we're optimizing for speed and we're optimizing for refresh rate and frequency because like we just want to bring to you the most up-to-date data that's like fresh. Like all the other tools out there, like they've got like 15-minute refreshes, they've got like 10-minute refreshes, and like there's so much shit that could be happening in 10 minutes. Like it's just not even worth using tools like that. Like it doesn't give you the real-time data that you need in order to actually move with the markets. I mean, I already gave my take on BA. I don't like it. It's like in the middle of two nodes right now, and just not a big fan of it. There's like no asymmetric risk to reward here. Like you could like if it went up right here, you could short it down, or if it goes down here, you could try to play bounce. Those are the only setups I see. Yeah, Hood was clean. I think Hood hit 100% off the lows today too. Yeah, I don't have a strong thought on crypto and miners. Like I don't really have a perspective there. Like I just trade off of numbers. CLSK is stuck between 12 and 11, so I'm not really interested in it. And IBIT is Yeah, I don't really have much interest in it either. It's like it's just a shit show. It's not really clean. Like MicroStrategy is the one where if you bought the dip this week, you could have made money, and it's like nearing the 340. This 340 was here all the way from last week, so there's like anybody who bought the dip this week would have made money on this one. And then the Vex is like if it can clear 340, then you might see a potential move higher. But honestly, like I think MicroStrategy is cooked. Like I think just too many people piled onto it, and then it just suppressed it. Yeah, Richie, it doesn't matter if you don't trade the indexes. Like if you use the Heatseeker bot channel, it allows all 300 tickers. Yeah, Richie, again, like I gave my explanation as to why I'm not going to give people a one-day trial to Skylit.ai. Like I literally manage like user permissions and RBAC like manually right now. Like there's just no robust integration between WAP and any external tools. So unless I bring the payment system entirely in-house and build it in-house, like I won't be able to do that. Like that's why like if you look at one of the features we have, it's a storefront and subscription management. It's just an entirely new feature that needs to be built out to be able to do this. Otherwise, if I'm giving like Owls has 18,000 members, if I'm giving 180 of them one day access, like is literally a shit show to be able to manage all of that manually. So right now is not the time. Like I know people are not going to be happy with that, but that's just how it is right now, and I can't prioritize that right now. How did I play meta today? Like, so meta I've been in since last week, and I've been in since last week because we had the 780 node lit up and the 800 node lit up. So it was like that, and then we're all the way down at like 745 or 750. So this was a pretty good like risk. I think it was like right here when I entered. So there's like pretty good upside, and I was interested in playing it. So I got out with trims at 250% as it approached 780 because 780 is a gatekeeper node that could potentially prevent it from going to 800. I still think that it could stall out around 780 now. It might not go higher than that. So I'm only in runners right now. Like if they have a good event and we squeeze past 780, we might be able to see 800 and 820. So I have runners, but I think the move is mostly done for meta. I recommend weeklies on Monday and Tuesday, and then next week starting Wednesday. I don't think I ever recommended that. I actually don't recommend that. Um, because I like to play zero day expirations and I like to play cheap contracts, so I don't really have a strong rule. But based on the map, if I'm seeing a stair stepping up into the right setup where it's going like this, then I'll probably take a swing trade that's further out. But if I'm only playing for this single column, like I'm probably playing weeklies on it. Yeah, FSLR looks okay. I mean, okay, you guys are looking at this one right here, 250. Yeah, I wonder if it's gonna have some news that just sends it. It's possible. Yeah, it's got a major 250 node there, so this one, what you could do is you could wait for it to kind of dip down into like this general area right here, and then I would just load swings for like 3 to 4 weeks out, and then play for the node all the way up here. Again, the only important thing to note is that you've got this one sitting on OpEx as well, third week or third Friday of October. So just take it with a grain of salt. Like just play cheap contracts. Like OpEx always has like interesting, like very wacky nodes, so you just gotta be very careful of those. Yeah, I think T2 can be okay. I mean, yeah, we're stuck at a gatekeeper right now. I don't think I've ever traded T2 before, but yeah. Yeah, so I think the thing about T2 is like it's sitting at all-time highs right now, and I generally don't trade all-time high setups. Like I just don't like trading all-time high setups when the market is topped out and running on fumes because there's just a high likelihood of like false breakouts. So if I look at the heat map, like sure it's okay. If I look at the chart, like it's just not my kind of setup. You can still try to play lottos off of it here, but yeah, it's stuck at the 250 node right now. It would have to break above that. Like I always say charts in like price action is number one, and like I just don't like to trade all-time highs on tickers. It's not really. Yeah, Amazon is already done. So Amazon, like Flow God mentioned it earlier in the week, like we were mentioning 235, and this spot price is off, but we did hit 235, so we're good. Yeah. So this was the major one right here. We tapped it, and I think it could potentially go higher. Like there's a bunch of nodes to the upside here. Like look at this fucking clusterfuck all the way up here. Like it might have a little bit more juice upside, but you should be out with a lot of profits on this already because we've been mentioning this one from like beginning of the week. Yeah, if you ask me about my opinion on things I already went over, I'm just gonna tell you to go over the recording. Wait, what the fuck? How come I don't have KO here? Wait, there's no way. I could have sworn I had KO here. Okay, that's weird. I don't have Coca-Cola here anymore. I thought I did. Maybe I deleted it on accident. Yeah, not really sure about KO. I think the other day I saw KO. Oh, yeah, somebody asked me the other day if I would go long on KO. And what I was mentioning is that KO on the weekly chart looks like a double top with a liquidity hunt. And as long as it stays below 70.88, like I'm pretty bearish on it. I don't think this is a good setup. I already did one on UNH, so you can go watch the recording. UNH was a good short setup off 360 and it printed pretty well. Cost. Yeah, Costco looks okay. Like it's got this 960 gatekeeper now, so I'm not really sure how it reacts there. It would have to get up above 960 and go higher from there. Downside risk is 940, so not really that great of a setup right now. Yeah, I mean, you guys don't even need me to alert on owl. Like literally all of the analysts and people that alert on owls have like their hit rate is literally crazy. So I would just be adding a lot of redundancy by alerting. Like they're good. But Keon uses Heatseeker now too, so you could trust and ensure that he's banging out some trades based off of these setups. I think he actually took Lily on his dub port, so he banked on that one today. Yeah, Apple is already done. Like we saw upside to 245 off of 235 and it had a pretty good rip today. So now it's in the middle of the nodes. Like there's not a good setup there. But Apple, the entry was yesterday. Like you should have entered Apple yesterday if you wanted to play it. And then because yesterday it was all the way at like 225 and then it fucking ripped today. Yeah, Iron is another one that we already caught and it's done and long gone. These spot prices and after hours are fucked. It should be at 36.5 right now. Yeah, we're at 36.5 right now on iron. So might be able to go a little bit higher, but like look at the chart on that thing. This thing is like gone. Like you're chasing it at this point. I wouldn't chase it this high up. Yeah, Spaltheru, any chance I'm planning on screeners to show list of stocks at call walls and put walls? Yes, I'm building that out. I just don't know when and if I'm gonna release that because I don't want everybody taking the same trade. Like Skylit itself is literally gonna be pumping and dumping options at that point, and that always becomes a very big risk. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I could try a universal single login for alls and disable it after the trial. I'll go ahead and give that some thought, Jeff, if that's how your name is pronounced. Yeah, the Gex and Vex charts don't shuffle too often. Like I usually like even SPX, SPY, and QQQ, like I see like major shuffles like maybe 2 to 3 times a day at most. MOC can get a little bit crazy, so that's generally why I tell people not to hold spreads into the last 30 minutes of the trading hour. But for the most part, like they remain pretty stable. Yeah, Gatekeeper can be a yellow or purple node. Like it's effectively just a road bump or like a roadblock that prevents Price from being able to shoot and blast off to the target king node. Yeah, usually for me, I trade less than 21 DTE, but that's because I'm a degen. Like I just like to trade like a degenerate and I go for like very high risk to high reward trades. And I like to know if I'm right or wrong sooner than later. Like I don't like to wait 3 months to find out that I'm wrong on a trade. So trading like long swings like that just don't really vibe with my personality and my trading strategy and style. So like not everybody should trade like me though. Like, if you want to be more conservative, if you want to play a little bit more safe, like if you value your blood pressure, then you could still take trades that are 1 to 3 months out. It's just not something that I do. So you just have to find a strategy that works for you. Yeah, Timo is not really showing anything right now, but it's got some pretty major OpEx nodes in October on into October 17th. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I haven't traded this one before, but it's at a pretty interesting spot right now. At least from a chart perspective for Timo, I think if it breaks above 492 to 500, then it could have a pretty big run to the upside. Yeah, if I find an A plus setup on the heat map and the glitch dot prints in the opposite direction, yeah, I trust Heatseeker over glitch dot for sure. What I use glitch dot for a lot though is for taking profits. So usually, like, if I'm in calls off of a low bounce and as it's ripping up and I see price action start to get exhausted and it prints a bearish signal, like I'll either trim or I'll take profits and I'll look to re-enter on a pullback. Yeah, glitch dot is good for like a whipsaw and reversal setup. It's not really good for like a trend setup. So you just have to know like when to use it and like when not to use it. Like if you're trading like a whipsaw or a chop setup though, like it's very powerful on the 3 minute chart. Yeah, Microsoft, I think it's still like a pretty decent setup. Again, like even for 919, like this week is like OpEx, so we'll have to see what happens. I think the only concern for Microsoft is that like you've got this 500 node, you've got this 530, like you might end up at like you might get like 520-ish. And at that point, like you have to be cautious. Like tomorrow, if we get a pump, or like the day after tomorrow, we get a pump, like you just want to trim a little bit early and not wait for the final. Unless as we're pumping, this one starts to reduce in value and this one continues to increase in value. So that's my thought on Microsoft. I don't think it's a dead trade yet. I mean, I entered today, so I think I'm only down like 5% on my trade. Yeah, BE is gone. Like BE, we saw BE like weeks ago. Like we entered this one like weeks ago. I think Trade Flow Wiz is the guy that caught this one. It's almost at the target of 80. But like oh shit, holy shit, BE went fucking nuts. Yeah, BE went crazy. But yeah, one of our Heatseeker users was in BE from like all the way down in like the 40s or 50s, and he rode this shit all the way up. He swung it for a couple weeks. Yeah, I think as a result of pushing the change that we did for the real-time spot prices during market hours, it introduced a regression in terms of how they populate after market hours. So I have to look into that. But yeah, I've got to prioritize like during market hours. Like right now, during market hours, it's real time and like that's the most important part. So let me see what I could do. Yeah, Satis, like I'm not gonna provide alerts. You don't need alerts, man. Like if you need alerts, just go follow like Dem SPX alerts for his SPX trades, and also like Keon and Professor E and like TT alerts and them like they're good at alerting. Like it's like I think you'd have to be like pretty bad to lose money on their alerts. But my recommendation to everybody is like use alerts as like a watch list and like something to kind of bring something to your attention. But you need to have your own system to like validate the entries and exits. Like you'll feel a lot better and you'll be more successful in the long run. Yeah, Roku. Wait, Roku? Uh, what the fuck is Roku? Wait. Yeah, Roku's at 97, 91 right now. Yeah, so Roku is actually all the way down here somewhere. So yeah, Roku looks okay. Yeah, Roku yesterday was a good pickup because 95 was like the lows and it bounced off of there. So I think Roku was good. And then, yeah, MGM, yeah, all these spot prices are screwed up. 35, 36. This one should be at 35, 36. Yeah, I'm gonna have to log off the Zoom in a bit and I'll fix this real quick. Yeah, it should be here and then, yeah, up to 39 potentially. Like, that's an interesting setup. MGM is an interesting setup. Then, yeah, I think Wing. Yeah, so Wing right now is at 260 with a 270 note. So the thing about Wing is like one thing that you have to keep note of is like this is 99,000. Like it's very, very low in terms of the actual notional value. So it actually is not that strong of a pull. Like the general rule of thumb for Gex is that it should be at least 4 digits or larger for it to be significant enough to have like a really, really strong pull. So just keep that in mind. Like that's really important. Like Roku, for example, like if you look at it, it's got 4 digits, right? So it's like it's in the millionth. But if you look at Wing, like it's just very, very low in terms of volume. And I think earlier somebody asked me, like, how does it work for low volume tickers? And like, my answer is it doesn't work that well for low volume tickers. Like it just means it's a very weak magnet. Yeah, Reddit is at 266 right now. Holy shit, Reddit fucking went back to all-time highs. That's crazy. Yeah, I think Reddit is gassed out. Like I think even if it pops a little bit more, it's just gonna fade back down. What dumbass holds pushing pin does. No, Owls, you gotta be pushing pin, dude. You're pushing pin, right? Yeah, CVNA long was we play I think somebody in the server played CVNA longs like last Friday or something like that, and they banked like 500% or something on that. Ninja Pumpkin, yes, it has. Like I think it identified open a few times already. It identified the UNH. Like UNH, I would consider like a pretty massive. I mean, I don't think it was a short squeeze, but like that was like still a massive move. It also had a Vex note to the upside on the day that Trump announced the tariff extension, so that was a pretty massive ripper. Yeah, I don't really obsess over short squeezes. Like I just obsess over like very, very good asymmetric risk to reward setups that are gonna give me like, multiple 100% returns. Yeah, circle is just another one of those. Like none of these nodes are like 4 digits or higher, so I just don't think it's not really super valid. All right. So a couple of MU to the downside. Yeah, it's at 158 right now. Yeah, I think as it taps 160, like we might get a potential rejection trade on this one because 152.5 is still the king node. So you might be able to fade this one into the end of the week. That's a potential trade, only if the 160 holds as the resistance. Yeah, VKTX. Yeah, VKTX is another one where like the pull is not super strong because it's only 3 digits, it's not 4 digits. So this is probably another low liquid one. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to it, but yeah, it looks like it might be able to double bottom off of 23.5 or 23.3 if you're looking at the chart setup itself. So you could try to play a potential bounce off of it. I just wouldn't go large. Like I just wouldn't go into normal size. Just do like a lot of position because anything less than like 4 digits for me hasn't been super successful. Yeah, Vex is generally bigger, but like you're trading weeklies, so I mean for this particular week, like it's just not super strong. Yeah, Snow is at 216.20 right now, so it actually dipped below this node right here. But even to the upside, like 220 is your ceiling, like I just don't really see a good setup there. Like the risk to reward just doesn't seem that good. Like maybe going into next week it could be decent. Like maybe we could pop up to like 237.5 next week. So in this scenario, like I would just look at the chart. Looks like we're entering. So I mean, I can give like basic chart lessons as well here real quick. Yeah, so if you look at snow, you've got a gap to fill right here, first thing first. I think like a lot of gaps end up just being bait though, so I don't care too much about it. Like the area that I'm gonna be interested in is like right here. Like this is a pretty interesting level. And this is an interesting level because you have a resistance right here and you've got a support right here. So my guess would be that if they really want to trick people out and bait them into a gap fill, they're gonna dip it below right here and then they're gonna send it up from here. So that would be like the only potential like decent risk to reward trade that I see on Snow based upon charts and the heat map. So you could try it. I mean, it's in the golden zone right now, so if it's gonna bounce, then this is a good spot to do so. Core Weave was the other one. So Core Weave, as you were looking at it, I know a lot of people like, they keep on thinking this one's gonna explode. One thing I was mentioning is that 115 was like the major king node, so naturally it's gonna come back and reverse off of it. So today, as it pumped, you still saw 115 being the king. This right here is what you call it a liquidity hunt. Okay. So you can actually enter a short off of here, knowing that the king node is all the way down here. Okay. So it ripped. You could take a short there off the liquidity hunt. You could write it back down to the king node. You could sell your puts right back into calls, and then it got a perfect bounce from there. as long as the 115 doesn't break, you could stay in your calls and you'll be fine. It's like very like you have literally no risk. So that's how you play like the bounce reversal nodes. Yeah, Microsoft I think is looking fine. Like I took Microsoft into the close, and the reason I took it is because like I think it's at an interesting level right here where if it's gonna bounce, then this is the place to do so. So if you look here, like you've got this major like supply turned like demand zone. So yeah, as long as this like level holds, like I'm fine. I mean, I got a reversal signal here on the glitch dot, so like I didn't enter like the other day, but you know, this one probably like if it's gonna bounce, like it needs to bounce here. Like we'll find out tomorrow if it's gonna bounce or not. If it doesn't bounce, then I think you could probably retest 500. Like 500 is probably a gap fill right here. Yeah, now is another one of the low liquidity tickers, so it's a little bit more difficult to trade off of the Heatseeker. But let's go ahead and take a look. I have it added. 932, yeah, 932.01. Yeah, this one is also in the middle of it. It's like at the 50 fib right now, the halfway point. But also, like if you look at the nodes, they're triple digits. Like it's not really appealing to me. Yeah, now it's not interesting to me right now. Microsoft, I took weeklies. I think I took 520 weeklies for like $1.30 each. Yeah, well, for Microsoft, if you're looking at it, like the node is the major upside node is for like this week. So, I just took cheapies for this week. Yeah, I mean, regardless, like Microsoft looks decent going into the next 2 weeks. Like, you know, if you look, it's kind of got like this pattern right here. Like that's considered like decently bullish. So if anything, if you wanted to be safer, you could try it for like 2 to 3 weeks out. But to be honest, like if this doesn't work out, like I'm just gonna go past it. I don't really like trading Microsoft to begin with. It moves like a boomer stock. So generally haven't enjoyed trading it too much. Yeah, no, you didn't miss the SPX potential rug pull setup. So if everybody's done asking me for maps, I can go over the rug pull setup real quick. Let me go into it. All right, so I've got the owls open here. Yeah, so the rug pull happened. Like, it was like a decent mini rug. Like it wasn't massive, but like it was significant enough to give you like 100% or more, if you were able to get it. And so if you look at SPX here, like you've got a flare at 6610, right? Like this is like interesting, but what you'll notice is that, all right, let me actually scroll back a little bit more to make this make a little bit more sense. All right, so when you're here, you can see we have 6610 as a king node, and you've got one at 6620, right? Like those are the two prominent ones, right? Look here, and you'll notice that the 6620 node is a much higher value than the 6615 here. So like here, you've got a decent 10-point range between 6610 and 6620. The likelihood of it actually tapping 6620 is very low though, because the 6610 has a little bit greater than equal pull. So at this point, like you expect 6615 to kind of be the high. And what happens as you keep on going down is you'll notice that they're lowering the floor, like the ceiling. So even though the floor is at 6610 and that's where current spot price is, the 6620 is diminishing in value and the 6615 is growing, meaning that they're lowering the ceiling from 6620 down to 6615. So what's going to happen is if it loses the 6610, you could see a quick rug and a drop down from here because like there's no breathing room to the upside from this if even if it bounced here, right? So you give it a little bit more time, and what you'll notice is that like at this point, like first of all, the 6615 is greater than the 6620, and then these nodes have also diminished significantly, resulting in like significant downwards pressure from there. So like we got a pretty big drop. The reason it doesn't drop all the way, here, let's see what time it was when this happened. Um, the reason it doesn't drop down all the way. Okay, so I think you got like 6608 here. Um, this was at 1544. Yeah, I think what we're noticing is that so S SPY and SPX were kind of in a rug pull setup, but then QQQ was not. Like QQQ has a floor at 50, 59 or 591, and it's in a sandwich setup, meaning that it's gonna just pinball within this range. If it wasn't for this major like 590 to the downside on QQQ, leaving it pinned in this sandwich setup, then like you could even hold puts for a little bit longer because you could see a potential unwinding action, and you can get like a very high velocity drop overall. But QQQ pretty much saved like SPX from rugging all the way down like another 5 points. So generally, long story short, like when you see a potential setup, like when you see a setup like this where you've got a floor and price has tested the floor multiple times already and is literally like sitting on it with the ceiling right above, like there's a high likelihood that you just get a really quick, swift rug pull on it. Like this is the same setup you saw on Friday as well. I think it was either Thursday or Friday when the pips went like 1,000%. And then we caught the bounce off of 65.80 because we saw like a major purple floor node there. And then that one printed like 220% back to the upside. So yeah, generally like you kind of saw the action. Like you saw like it was originally you saw like 66.10 and then you saw 66.20, which was like a 10-point range. And then they rolled the ceiling down to 66.15, which pretty much didn't give like room for a bounce. And then you just saw like a quick like 5 to 10 point rug from there. Like last 30 minutes of market, if you get a rug like that, like you're printing like pretty well. Yeah, I wanted to spend a little bit more time on that, but I ended up going over a shit ton of different ticker requests for people. So I guess that was still useful though, because I'm trying to go over like what people can actually apply. But yeah, I think the Lily setup was probably like the one that was most clear that provided like the best risk to reward. Like the newest candle could have like shook people out or like scared people, but you just gotta trust the Heatseeker and you gotta play off of it. Like if you've got a 50-point potential upside, like you just take it. Like even if it doesn't work out, the next time you take it, it's probably gonna print fat. All right. So hopefully everybody got a lot out of that. Does anybody have any final questions or anything that they want me to cover outside of like going over more tickers? Because like that will never end. So I'm not gonna take any more ticker requests, but like if you have any other like mechanical questions or like usage related questions for Heatseeker, like I'm happy to answer them right now. Yeah, I love you too, man. What's up, dude? Yeah, well, I was gonna do a giveaway, but Mr. Keon Trades was not able to join today, so I'll have to go ahead and coordinate with him. I do have the full list of. Actually, hold on just a second. Hold on. Let me see what I could do without him being here. 1 second. Yeah, the spot prices in the after hours are busted right now. During the market hours, they'll all be perfect and in real time. In the after hours, they're broken right now. I'll have to go look into that. The initiate Heatseeker, it comes with Gex only for the indexes. Yeah, Mayo, do you mean the spot price on Meta and Amazon? Was it during market hours? Okay, that's interesting. It should have been fixed during market hours. Yeah, let me know if it happens during market hours tomorrow, and I've got to check that out. 1 second, I'm trying to create a giveaway right now. Just hang in there for a bit. All right, so for the giveaway, one thing I'm gonna do is, yo, the spreads to get 299 or 699 is not that hard. You just need to take a debit spread and buy it at a very, very good asymmetric risk to reward spot. I think debit spreads are underrated. Like, not many people play debit spreads, but if you're not doing it, then you're leaving free money on the table. If you're playing credit spreads, then yeah, you're not making 299 and 699. So, all right, hold on just a second. Let me do something real quick. I'm gonna create a 1 month free code for any new user. I'm gonna do a separate giveaway for people that are already existing users that have paid. So don't worry about that. I'll handle that after the Zoom call. But for the one that I'm doing right now is gonna be a 1 month free code for Pro, which will include access to Skylit as well. And let me get the code and send it out real quick. I just need to make sure I set the max redemptions at 1, apply it to Heatseeker Pro only. I just need to make sure I don't fucking post a shit ton of them. Hold on just a second. And then whoever gets to it first is going to get it, but they have to make sure they use the right link and put in the right promo code. All right, hold on just a second. I'm going to get you guys ready first. All right, so first thing first, click on this link and go to the checkout page. I'm literally giving you guys like time to get this ready and done, okay? The eligible users will only be new, so it's only going to be for people that haven't signed up yet. Yeah, maybe I'm making it too easy, huh? No, so for anybody that's an existing member already, like I'll do a entirely separate giveaway. So don't worry. Like I'm gonna keep it fair. There's gonna be one for completely new members, and I'll do that right now. And then for the other one, I'll do it afterwards, and I'll let you guys know how to enter for that one. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and post the code. If you use this code, you'll get 1 month free on Pro. Don't miss it, okay? All right, three, two, one. All right, and whoever gets it is gonna get it. Yeah, I don't know if it's been used yet or not. I haven't seen anything come in yet. It's gone? All right, cool. Yeah, whoever got it, congrats. If you got it, then I'll go ahead and send you the login for Skylit as well. But yeah, for anybody that's a member, like what I'm gonna do is at least 1 time or 2 times a week, I'm gonna do a live stream session during market hours to pretty much go through how I'm analyzing the chart, how I'm analyzing Heatseeker, and you'll effectively be able to learn like exactly how I trade with it. And that is gonna be very, very helpful. I don't know if it's gone. I actually just noticed that the all of the pros were sold out, so I don't know if people were able to get it. So you might want to try again. But yeah, the code doesn't show that it's used yet. Okay, all right, cool. Well, I haven't seen it come in yet, so let's see. Here, should I do one more then, in case it's bugged out? Does anybody want me to do one more? Okay. Yeah, just make sure you. Okay, all right, all right, all right, all right. Hold on. Yeah, it's out of stock, so it might have gotten bugged out. I'm gonna launch two. I'm gonna launch two codes for it then. Okay. 1 second. All right, so click on that link again. I'm gonna do another like fresh code and yeah. Oh man. Well, you gotta go to that link and then get ready to put in the promo code. No, it shouldn't. Is it out of stock? I just added more, so you just refresh the page. Everybody go refresh the fucking page. All right, everybody go refresh. Fucking technical. Dude, I don't know why so many people signed up during the Zoom session, so like it took up all the slots and I had no idea. So that's my fault. I fumbled, but anyways, I'm opening up more. All right, hold on. Well, I'm getting three slots for this one, so three people are gonna get a month free for all joining in on a 1 hour, 1.5 hour session. Yeah, it's actually not free because Keon is sponsoring it. Like he just told me to sponsor however many he wants, and then he's gonna pay for your guys' license, so we'll be fine. All right, so everybody is ready now, right? There should be enough stock, and I'm gonna post the code, and there's gonna be three people that get a free month. All right, I'm posting it now. No more excuses, whatever. All right, this is a free month on Keon. If you get access to it, then just go ahead and send him a DM and thank him and tell him you're gonna work your ass off and make a shit ton of money. All right, well that's it. It's all filled up now. That was quick. Yeah, that's quick. All right, yep. Kips is in. David Q is in. Yeah, so okay, so there's actually four people that used the code, meaning somebody got the first one and they got the other three. So congrats everybody. Congrats. Yeah, Venki, you gotta get better internet, man. I'm sorry. It's working fast for everybody else. All right, it's a free month, but it's sponsored by Keon, so I'm treating all three or four of you guys who use the full code as like a full member. So just send me like I'm actually gonna add you to Skylit. If you don't get the email within an hour, just send me an update asking for access and I'll give it to you. For the people that got the free license, go ahead and ping Flo Saden and just tell him thank you. Like he's doing out of pocket for this one. He loves all of the members in the server, so. Yeah, just thank him for it, and let's all make a bunch of money. All right, existing members, I'll do a completely separate new giveaway for you all, and I'll make sure I find a different way to take care of you all. No worries. All right, cool. Talk to y'all later. I'll go ahead and post the recording once it's ready. I'm probably gonna upload it to YouTube first, and then I'll just send out the link. But looking forward to trading with you all tomorrow. Should be a good day. All right. Yeah, those four codes. See y'all.